Hello, I'm PokerFaceVate, I speedrun Gothic, and this is my tutorial, my beginner's tutorial for Gothic in the no out of bounds category. And this is supposed to be aimed at people who haven't speedrun this game yet, or maybe looking into it. And this is supposed to, as I said, and as the title probably says, this is a beginner's tutorial, so I'll focus mostly on strats that are consistent and that will get you going and start your career in Gothic speedrunning. And I won't really be focusing on the faster strats, or more rather, I will be focusing on the faster strats that are still consistent, and you can switch to them pretty easily and pretty fast. But I will just mention briefly the ones that are harder and more random will just be mentioned briefly by me, so no one gets the idea of doing them in the very beginning, because that's just dumb. So I'm just gonna this is the beginner's tutorial. This is mostly aimed at people. This is mostly aimed for people who haven't speedrun this game at all and are looking into it, are looking into starting. So first things first, if you have your game from Steam or from GOG or from whatever the hell you get it, if you got it from Steam, it's probably best if you move it somewhere out of your Steam destination, just to make sure it doesn't start using Steam, because it sometimes can be pretty problematic. There's just this Steam version has some issues when launched by Steam, so just don't do it. It's just better to if you move the game out of the Steam directory, it just ignores Steam completely. But you need a couple patches. The link will be in the description. It's the Gothic site on speedrun.com. It's the guides section. The guide is called How to Set Up the Game. I've even sent it to someone who actually needed just the game to a casual playthrough, just because it's a good straightforward tutorial. There's a package called Speedrun Stuff, and you just need to install a bunch of patches just to make sure your game runs properly, has all the available resolutions and not like 3 of them, works properly in windowed mode and stuff like that. This tutorial pretty much covers everything you need to know, aside from one thing, but we'll get to that in a second. You might also want to get a hold of the load removal tool, which is you can find the guide, again, guides, and that's the time without loads guide on speedrun.com on the Gothic page. We have a load remover, and it's pretty cool, because the game is not timed by RTA, it's timed by loadless. So having a faster hard drive doesn't really mean you get any advantage. I have my game on my SSD just because it's comfortable to have faster loads. In this game, you have quite a lot of loading just because you save and load a lot. It's not just about loading that the game gives you. The only flaw of using the load remover is that it still doesn't remove one particular loading. It's the loading that you get when you enter Sleeper's Temple. It only takes about 0.8 seconds on an SSD and a couple seconds on an HDD. You just have to remember to subtract it at the end of your run, that your final loadless time from the load remover it's still not your final time. You still have to subtract the couple seconds. But even if you subtract it wrong, even if you're wrong in your subtraction, it's still fine, because Saradok here, the only moderator of the game as for now, always frame checks every run, frame counts every run in both RTA and loadless, so it's not a big issue if you mistime it. What I wanted to mention about setting up the game that's not mentioned here is I'm not catching my mouse, I'm not catching my cursor, which is not good. Okay. A thing that's not mentioned here that you might want to do before you start even is go to your Gothic destination and go to system. After you've is it system pack? Yeah, after you've installed system pack, go to systempack.ini and find it's called draw distance multiplier. It's here. Draw distance multiplier. Basically, this means that if you set your draw distance in the game to 300% and set this to 5, it multiplies the 300% by 5, so you get 1500% eventually, like in the end. And this is pretty important for reference point. Just we'll get to that in a second, just in a couple minutes maybe. Yeah, this is something that'll let you have a reference point for one particular trick in the game. That's pretty important. Without the reference point, it's really hard to pull off without that reference point. So better just do it. All right. So this is it. One thing I should also mention, one link. All of the links will be in the description. So look there if you want to find them. One place that I should also mention is the Gothic Discord. The Gothic Discord server is not only for speedrunning, it's also for modders and just people that enjoy the game in general. But you can always ask speedrunning questions there. There's a separate channel for just Gothic speedrunning. All right. For the purpose of this video, I will be using my own run. No, go away. I will be using my own run because it shows off, my own PB shows off pretty much all the safe strats, but I'll also be using some other videos of strats and some other speedruns, but we'll get to that later. First off, when you start your game and you start your timer at the same time and your life split is, I'm not gonna cover life split management in this video because it's not about that. If you have any questions, then there are already proper tutorials on how to use life split. But when you start your timer and the game at the same time, the timing starts when you press new game. Hello? Oh, okay. The timing starts when you press new game. So at the same time, just press your split key. The time will be stopped because it's loading. If you use loadless, obviously. Then this is the moment you start your game. Diego is gonna talk to you, so just skip all of the dialogue. Remember that skipping the it's a good habit to skip the dialogue with right mouse button. Don't ever, you see me do it with escape, don't do it with escape. Don't be as stupid as I am. Because I've been doing it for a long time. It's a bad habit and I can just shake it off. And the problem with skipping dialogue with escape is that when the dialogue ends and you hit escape once too many times, you pause the game. That's completely not needed, and you just lose time that way. Also, the other reason not to skip dialogue with escape that I got to know about just today is that FPS is better when it's high for dialogue. Now the thing with FPS, I would rather explain it in the very beginning than to forget it. The FPS in this game, if you're using the original way the game goes about FPS and you don't switch it manually to like 60 or something, if you're using the OG way of FPS of the game handling FPS, then the game works at 21 FPS. It resets to 21 FPS every time you click something on the keyboard. If you hold something on the keyboard or you just use the buttons on your mouse, it doesn't, the FPS is going to start rising up until, I believe, 256. The moment you click anything on the keyboard, it goes back to 21 again. If you've played this game casually, you may have seen that if you run for an extended period of time, the game gets very smooth and it doesn't lag at all. And then the moment you stop running and like, for example, you stop for a second and you start running again, the game gets really laggy. That's because the FPS just dropped from 200 to 21. And yeah, you want high FPS for dialogue supposedly, but that's just minor. The entirety of this explanation was just to make sure you know how FPS in this game works. All right, so let's get straight to it. The first thing you want to do is switch into battle mode. Battle mode is when our hero is standing like this, and if he had a weapon, there is also like if you get your weapon out, then this is also battle mode. But because we don't have any weapon, it's just our fists. So battle mode is only pretty much used. Okay, battle mode is used for a couple of things. That would be a lie. It's only used for one. But right here we just use for movement. Battle mode is just used to jump more easily. I'll show it to you in a second. But the thing is, you can either start battle mode with space, but this is not only your fist. This could also be, I think this is your last weapon as well. So for this category, it doesn't matter at all because you never get a weapon pretty much, or you shouldn't at least. But for other categories, it's just better if you learn to use the fist hotkey instead of space. Now the fist hotkey is whatever you have to the left of your 1 key. Unlike the numbers row, it's the one that's the most to the left. It's different for different keyboard layouts. For me, it's a tilde, I think it's called. Tilde, something like that. But whatever it is for you, this is the key you're going to be using. This is the key you should use to turn the hero into the battle mode. Now, we're just going to be jumping for a bit here. Don't do it like this. Just jump normally. This might be, sliding into this hill might be pretty tricky at first, but it's pretty speedy and it's pretty nice to do it. So yeah, I screwed it up here. Okay, so that's why I said it might be tricky sometimes. If you fall down here, you can just climb back, so it's not really an issue. This part might be tricky at first. You just slide upwards like this. Good thing is that you can see my cursor. You slide like this, like towards here, and at the very end you can strafe to the right, to the left. Even if you're like above here, you're not really on the ground. You can still strafe mid-air, and it's way easier than doing anything else here. At least to my the way I feel it. So the way I did it here was I was at this point and I strafed to the left. But you can also be mid-air above this place and still strafe to the left, and it's way easier than, well, not strafing. So the way I do it, people do it differently. You just try what's best for you. But this is the way I do it. This is the way that's been working for me so far. I spot this place on the ground. I place the hero here. I turn to the right. I make 2 quick jumps, and that's it. You might be timing the second jump here might be kind of weird, but you just have to know when to put it. You just get the feel for it to change the second one here. Okay, now I placed the hero. Whoa. I placed the hero. Come on, dude. I placed the hero right about here. This is like, I don't really remember what's my reference point at this. Okay, I think this place is my reference point, like to the left of this pile of grass, I guess. And this is the way I do it. Now there is I guess different people have different lineups here. And this is my one. If it doesn't work for you, or you feel like something else is more comfortable to you, then that's fine too. Just, you need to just get a feel for it and see what works for you best. My lineup is that I line up this hill with his left knee, like this, pretty much, or more or less. It's not it's not as important to be super perfect about it. It's just like his knee, this hill, that's it. Now the thing we're gonna be doing here is a little more complicated. This is what's known as the catapult glitch. So the way this works is if you walk forward, you pause the game on the right frame. There's 21 of them per second. If you pause on the right frame of the game and then unpause, you might get launched forward, and that's what we were trying to do here, because we're not going to be walking all the way to the Sleeper's Temple. So what you want to do is you want to walk forward and pause the game at the right frame. Now, which is the right frame? The thing about you did it right if you pause the game like this and the hero starts sliding. He might not be sliding this fast. The faster he's sliding, the better, but it's kind of random. So it's not really... If he slides very slowly, then you still got it, so you should be happy that you got it and not worry about how fast he's sliding just yet. And yeah, don't worry if you don't get it at first. I remember being kind of annoyed by it, but to be honest, it's not... You can have some like, I don't know, some idea on how to get how to pause when he's perfectly in this position. I've tried a couple reference points, and my own right now is his right hand. I always look at his right hand. But the thing is, after some time of doing it, you'll be able to do it looking at probably any part of his body, just because you just get a feel for it. So I remember in the very beginning, I would get it like 3 out of 10 times. So don't worry if you don't get it a lot. It's a frame perfect trick after all. So now he starts sliding. Sometimes he'll just slide out of your field of view, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just random. It just happens. But what you're waiting for here, and what's gonna happen most of the time, is he's gonna go back a bit. The moment he goes back a bit, you need to wait, I don't know, 2 or 3 seconds. I usually count to 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and I unpause at 4. But this is just like completely arbitrarily. This is not seconds. This is just like 1, 2, 3, 4. I just know how to do it. So again, you need to get the feel for it, right? But you unpause the game after the... See me? I'm counting the seconds here. Like you can probably see my head move a bit when I count. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Unpause. Now, what happened here is we got a pretty good launch. You can sometimes judge how good of a launch it was by just the cam angle. You might not, you probably won't get as good in the beginning, just because you don't always get is an understatement. You usually don't get something like this, but you usually end up hitting like this wall, this piece of stone here, this rock, and fall down, and you can still like go around it and to the temple. It will still make you should still make it to the temple in sub 3 minutes, which is still good for a beginner. If you don't, you can always just reset until you get a good position, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend to try and work with the positions you get in the beginning. Anyway, what you want to do now is press M and then escape right away, because you're in mid-air right now. The camera, you get launched so fast that the camera cannot make it with you. So what you want to do is tap M and escape, because M is a very important key. M is the map key, but if you don't have a map, then that key just restarts your position, kind of. So that's to put it simply, but if you're mid-air, you cannot pause, because you're not on the ground. Because you're supposedly falling right now. But if you're falling and you press M, you're kind of in the normal position of standing and like the game thinks you're on the ground. So you can just, if you tap M and escape, you can then pause the game. So what you want to do here is tap M and escape and save the game, and then tap M and escape and load the game. You need to do it pretty quickly because you're falling down. You don't want to take fall damage and die. So that's what I'm doing here. M escape, save, M escape, load. And I end up here. Right here, right before I hit the ground, I also tap M, just because it, like, you can see it here. I'm in this position, which means I'm gonna take fall damage the moment I touch the ground. But right before I do, I tap M, so it actually cancels my position to this. And then I hit the ground, and nothing happened. And then I hit the ground as if I was only falling from where I tapped M. So this is pretty good. We are now surrounded by orcs. And one thing to notice about orcs is that, as opposed to pretty much every other NPC, humans and orcs are not affected by saving and loading. Every other NPC, every like monster, whenever you save and load, they stop attack. They cannot interact with you for at least some time. It depends on the type of the monster. It seems it's not okay. It's not something I've confirmed, but it's something I've seen in my like own experience, and I think it's the way. It depends on the monster for how long they won't be able to interact with you. So like attack you pretty much. And some monsters get this effect for longer than others. But for humans and orcs, it doesn't work, and we're gonna be using it a lot to prevent being killed, but by monsters. But for humans and orcs, it doesn't work at all. They won't stop the moment you save and load. So you want to really be careful with them. The thing with orcs, there is no special trick for them. You just my only advice that I can give you is keep moving all the time. Don't stop, because they're gonna catch up to you. They're gonna kill you. Worry only about the ones that have their weapons out. If they're holding a weapon, be very careful around them. If they're not, they're gonna try to get close to you, and then they're gonna get their weapon out. So you still have some time to run away from them. So you shouldn't worry about the ones that don't have their weapons out, because they're not gonna take their weapons out and run after you with their weapons. They're gonna come to you and then get their weapons out. So it's pretty safe to just approach the ones that are not armed yet. The only other advice I can give you is, if you're running towards an orc and there is no way for you to like get far away from him quickly, you absolutely have to go past him. Then make sure you make him turn before you do anything else. So make sure when you come close to them, you approach them head on and then turn, so that they have to turn around a bit, at least by like 90 degrees, because that buys you time. And if you're really close to them and they didn't attack you just yet, that 0.3 seconds or something that this buys you is a lot, because you'll just be able to run away. And that's the case here. You might arrive at this place from kind of two different angles. This is one of them. The other one is from like, I would call the well. That you would be in the middle of this well. The thing about this well that's important to remember is that it has this weird collision on top of it. It's not really, this is not the ground here. You cannot just walk into it. You have to jump on top of it, and it's about like you'll be about here on this height. And then just jump off of it. So if you're approaching from this side, the best thing to do is to wait until they get armed and run towards you, and then get to here and there. So like bamboozle them like this. This is pretty consistent. I haven't failed this in a while. Just remember to jump, to chain your jumps properly so that you don't stop. The thing about battle mode I didn't mention is for movement. I mentioned it, but I just mentioned briefly. Battle mode makes it a lot easier to chain jumps together. I think the jumps are also a bit bigger, but I might be wrong. That's why I just switched the battle mode on, just because it makes running away from orcs a lot easier as well. And chaining jumps is just something you just tap Alt, which is the jump button, whenever you touch the ground, pretty much. Whenever your feet touch the ground, make sure you don't do it too early. If you do it too early, you kind of break the chain. And if you break the chain when you're, if you break the chain of jumps when you're like here, you're screwed, because this orc to the left is gonna kill you. But right now, if I'm just consistently chaining the jumps together, he has to turn before he attacks me. See, that's what I meant by make them turn. It's like he would attack me, but I'm to his right, so he has to turn first, right? So this is how you kind of manipulate them. If you approach them from like head on, then I don't know if I'll be able to show it properly here, but I'll try my best. So if you approach them from this side, just be in the middle of this place, and the moment they start running towards you, go to the right. This is like aim for this place. So pretty much kind of similar, get to here, but kind of in a different manner. And if you have any other way to do it and it works for you, then it's a good way. This is just like 2 examples of how you can do it. If you, as with anything else in this game, if there's something else working for you, then that's completely fine. Just do whatever works best for you. I'm just giving you the ideas that what can work and what you might want to use. First, yeah, the reason we want to get into this cave is because there's a special chest inside there. And you need to get the spells from the chest. If you want to make a safety save at any point, make sure you're not close to an orc before you do it, and don't trap yourself into not being able to loot this chest, because this is pretty much a run dead. And the way to do it is probably make a safety save before entering this cave, either before entering this cave or after you've looted this crate. Not the crate, the chest, but you get what I mean. Don't trap yourself out of looting this chest, because it's a run dead. So just whenever you do. To loot the chest, you have to be out of battle mode, so that's why I cancel it like about here. Yeah, I just canceled battle mode, and now you can just loot everything from the crate. By hitting your battle mode key when you're still in the chest, you skip the animation of closing the chest, like right now. If you hit the battle mode key, it's random whether you're gonna end up in battle mode or not in battle mode. It's better for you if you end up in battle mode, but make sure before running here, make sure you stand for a second to see, at least in the very beginning, make sure you stand for a second to see if he's standing, by the way he stands, you can see if it's battle mode or not. If it's not, then turn it on. Because if you're a little more advanced, you're gonna kind of feel if you're in battle mode or not. Because if you're not, then the jumping is gonna be kind of clunky. It's not gonna be as smooth as usual. So this is pretty easy to figure out. But in the beginning, it's better to just stand for a second to see if you're in battle mode, because you really want to be in battle mode. Okay, so now just like run away from them. Make sure to make them turn if they have their weapons out like this. If you can avoid an orc by just not running close to them, like here. Especially in the beginning, especially that this is the beginner's guide, don't risk by trying to save a second here. Just run around him, and it's gonna work properly. Now, this is a trick we're gonna be using next. From about this point, I start jumping, and then I chain jumps so that I hold forward, which is W. I hold jump, which is Alt, and then I tap M every now and then. You can see my inputs, by the way. I forgot about that. You can see my inputs here, and I tap M, and as a pretty, I don't know, particular rhythm. You just need to. You cannot do it too slow because you're gonna start falling down. But you need to cancel the jump animation, in a pretty just particular rhythm, I guess, like this. Tap 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 tap. This is good. Like you're gonna get to the top here. Now, the reason we do it is that there is a huge hole here. It's gonna get us through. And you might get stuck in this hole sometimes. Like if you land here, about here, you might get stuck. Don't worry if you do it. This is something I've done a lot. It's just better to like hit this wall and then fall down, I feel, at least, than to get stuck here. But you can just always like strafe to the side and try some stuff, and you should be able to make it out of here pretty quickly. It's not really a run that usually, just a couple seconds lost at best. Now, the problem with this fall is you might fall into this play. Like, wait, can I? Yeah, you can pretty much see. I turn my camera just because this is my way of falling down here. I hold the D, which is right. Wait, right? What the? This is what I'm doing here is muscle memory. So yeah, I hold it right and I flick my camera around just to make sure you can either fall down on this side or on this side. And getting out of this side is pretty notorious and annoying. So you want to fall down on this side. You also want to tap M while falling, because there is a slight chance you might get fall damage. And because you're on like level 1 and you have I think it's 5 points, 5 HP or 10 HP. Yeah, running this game for years right now. I think it's either 5 or 10. You pretty much die from any fall damage, because you just have such little health that you're not gonna survive this. So make sure to tap M at least once when you fall down from there. And then this is pretty much the end of the beginning, of the very beginning. We just jump our way into the Sleeper's Temple. The thing about the battle mode, from my own experience, from at least from what I do, I only enter, but like entering battle mode takes some time, because you need to wait for the animation of him, like, I don't know, bumping his fists or something. You need to let this animation play. So this takes like 0.3 seconds or something. Jumping with battle mode on, to me, is worth it if you need to jump more than 3 times. It's probably not fully right. I doubt anyone has tested it. If anyone did, then it's probably Sardog and he's gonna scream at me for giving you wrong information. But to me, at least, I usually turn battle mode on when it's about more than 3 jumps. Right now we just jump into the loading zone of Sleeper's Temple, and we continue jumping towards here. And here we chain some more jumps to just not use the bridge and rather just jump over here. Alright, we approach the first skeleton here. The problem with this skeleton is that sometimes he just feels like killing you, and he will. He always has his weapon out. So I usually just go past him in my normal like PB attempts. You just get, like with many other things, you just need to get a feel for it to just get past him consistently. But in the beginning, I would say it's a lot better for you to just save here. You just make a safety save, and it's a lot like, it's not more, it's gonna be a lot less annoying if he kills you, because you only save like you only lose like 2 seconds. But if you feel more confident, you can start just ditching this save. Saving takes like half a second, so you know it's always better to lose this half a second than lose 30 because you didn't save. The thing we do here is this is not a good position, by the way, from what I think Comatose told me. The better position would be to be in the middle of this gate, but it's not very precise. Different lineups can still work. It's not something that's precise, like I said. What you do here is you hold W, Alt, and M at the same time, and that makes you kind of sink into the ground. And because this is not like flat, you actually start moving towards here. And because you're sunk into the ground, you just fall right through the gate like this. If you didn't fall through the gate, if you just get stuck in the gate for a couple of seconds, then just reload and try again. It's probably best if you, I forgot to mention it, these skeletons might be coming for you. Don't be like me here. If they're coming for you, stand here, make a save and load. Make a save and then load that save, because that's gonna stop them for about 10 seconds. So if they're approaching you, then totally make a safety save. That's like non-negotiable, at least in the very beginning of your speedrunning. You just save and load. You can also save just to make sure, just to have a safety save. If you get stuck in this gate, especially sideways, for a couple of seconds, and you see that you're not gonna make it through, just either load that save or give up your inputs, and you'll be back where you started pretty much. And when you're in the ground already on the other side, make sure you let Alt first, because that's gonna make it so you don't jump out of the ground. You just go to the normal standing position without any additional animations, which saves like a very minor time, but it's just good to know that this is the way it works. Here you can either chain jumps from this rock and like in kind of not in a kind of like this line, I guess, and land on this thing, or you can also just chain jumps like this. It doesn't really matter that much, at least in the beginning. But yeah, I think the other way is faster. Right now, you just jump past this guy. This is an orc, but this is a guardian orc. This is like the guardian of the temple. He is a normal. He's treated as a normal monster. So he's you can just save and load, and that cancels his behavior. So we just get past him right near this the switch that's here. We save and load to make him stay where he is. You press that switch which opens this gate. Here we come to the first priest. There's a couple of ways to get this to kill this priest properly. This is probably the easiest, and both of the ways I'll be recommending you today will be consistent, and I'll also show you the inconsistent way that's totally not worth doing. But this is easier for beginners, I would say. So the way you do it is make sure you make a safety save. Okay, don't be like me. Don't make a save, okay? So make a save about here. And what you want to do here is you want to open this gate like this, but don't come any closer. Like whenever you open this gate, just stop running, because if you get too close, it's not gonna work. Right now, you wanna trigger this cutscene. You wanna wait for him to approach you. Then the easiest, you want to skip this entire conversation. This is probably best done. Remember when I said to not skip dialogue with escape, but this is a moment where you actually want to save right when the dialogue ends. So pressing escape 4 times might be a good idea, just to skip 3 lines and then pause the game like this. What you want to do here is you want to pause the game right as the dialogue ends, and then you want to make sure you save the game, but when he's looking at you, when he hasn't pulled out his weapon yet, that's very important. If he pulled out his weapon already, just load the save you made previously. Just make sure you made that previous save, that safety save, on a different slot, right? Because so you can load it now. He's gonna turn a bit, like for the first half a second after you finish the conversation. That's when you want to save. You want to wait for like just a tiny bit, and then save when he's looking back at you. But you just want to save before he pulls out his weapon, and then load immediately. And that will make it so that he doesn't pull out his magic. He pulls out his melee weapon, which is even if he hits you with it, it's like 1 HP of damage, so it's not dangerous at all. Now, because you've saved and loaded, the priests are also considered kind of monsters, like in a way that they still get paralyzed kind of by saving and loading. So one effect is that they cannot move. The other is that they won't attack you. But we want to cancel one of these effects. We want to make him follow us. So the way we do it is we enter this chamber and then immediately sink into the ground the way we did when we were clipping through the gate, which is just forward Alt M, which is forward jump M. Or forward jump map key. The moment he starts following you, you can just get out of the ground. Then you just get on top of this, whatever this is. You by walking into here, you're opening a trapdoor that's in there. You wait for him to get on top of this trapdoor, and then when he falls down, you start saving and loading. I just realized but this is only one audio track. Okay, this is the reason I muted it then. But what you want to do here is you want to save and load as fast as possible, constantly. Just keep saving and loading. And you want to do it 5 times. And I believe the 5th time you want to do it. Okay, the super safe way is to save and load until you hear him scream, because that means he's dead. Like, I don't know if you heard it, but this is it. This is his scream. Now you need to go to the side to cancel the trap that's underneath there, because otherwise you're gonna fall into spikes and kill yourself, which is not really what you want here. Whenever you cancel spikes, he also gets damage. So you can probably figure out now that you can save and load once less. Like, you can stop saving and loading 1 time early, and that way you can actually save like a save and load, and then just go through here, and this will still kill him. But you know, if you miscounted or he didn't get damage the first time, then it's not gonna work, and you're gonna need to load. So I would say the way to be super safe is to just save and load until he's dead. The one thing that's also worth mentioning right away before I forget about that is sometimes he doesn't want to fall down. He just stays here. Even though it's a hole, even though he's on top of it, he should fall down. He isn't. Don't worry about it. When this happens, just save and load and wait for a bit, because after you load, he's gonna start falling down. Whenever he's fallen down fully, you can just start spamming saving and loading constantly, like normally, because then he's gonna start getting damage again. So this is not an issue. Whenever that happens, don't panic, just save and load normally and just let him fall down. Because if he's falling, he's not gonna be taking damage. So you just need to wait like, I don't know, 0.3 seconds or something more for him to fall down to the ground, and that's pretty much it. Now, all right, what you want to do next is after he's done, after he's killed, you wanna remember to not be in battle mode now. Remember to cancel battle. If you were in battle mode to strafe, yeah, strafing doesn't work if you're not in battle mode. If you're not in battle mode, you just like every time you hold strafe, you just do one step to the side. So if you want to strafe like this, you need to have battle mode on. So it's advised that you have battle mode on all the time here, but you need to cancel it before you fall down, because when you're falling down, you need to tap M. This place is too high for you to not get fall damage. You will die if you don't cancel it in some way. And if you cancel it with M, even like out of habit, M also cancels battle mode. And if you cancel battle mode with M, you cannot use stuff. It's a weird glitch, but you just can't. And I think I might have even done that here. No, not in this video. I messed it up in some other video and I just remembered it now. But no, it's not important. The thing is, just cancel battle mode if you're going to cancel your fall damage with M. Because otherwise, you're not gonna be able to loot the priest. You will have to go into battle mode and back into normal mode to be able to loot him. It's not a huge time loss, but it's just very annoying. You can also cancel your fall damage with strafing to the side. So I guess you can do that as well. And then you can just not cancel battle mode, strafe instead of hitting M, and then cancel battle mode once you're on the ground, and then loot the priest. That's also an option. So whenever you land, you just want to loot the priest. Take just his like the weird sword he's carrying. Can I get the yeah, the sword of time or whatever. And you just want to loot this crate. Okay, you don't need to loot this crate. Loot this chest. Why do I keep saying crate? You don't need to loot this chest. It's not an absolute must. But if you're going to use a safe a fireball strat for the 4th priest, we'll get to that, then you need to take this, because you're gonna need an additional spell. If you're not going to do it, then you can skip it, but we'll talk about this when we get to the 4th priest. It's better if you take it than not, just for now. Then you just loot this. You just loot this chest. You use this switch so that the gate behind you opens, so you can get out. And then there are 2 chests here. It's very dark, but there are 2 chests here. This one and this one. You wanna loot this one and get the potions from there. The only thing we need from there is mana potions. Make sure you have battle mode on here, because it's there's gonna be a couple jumps here. You make sure you don't get killed by this guy. Jump a couple jumps. Make sure you also the thing I did here is something you should learn to do also, that I forgot to mention because I haven't done it yet. Whenever you chain jumps together, you can just go up like I did so far. But if you press M slightly too late, you get this, which is just like you're falling down, but you can still jump forward, but you won't gain any height. This also cancels your fall damage, but at the same time, like, instead of just canceling your fall damage and falling straight down, you can still like move forward, which is pretty good, to be honest. Right now there is a mine crawler here. If you just run past him, there is like, I haven't had him killed since I stopped saving here. I'm pretty sure, I'm like 99% sure it hasn't killed me ever. But you might want to take a safety save just before, just because you want to make safety saves literally everywhere in the beginning, just because you would rather lose 3 seconds than an entire run. Right here you want to save and load because the minecrawler is there onto you and you're gonna face a couple monsters up there. You want to save and load before you climb up. Then you just climb up. You get past this guy. You get to this point. And when you get near this potion, you just save and load because the orcs are onto you. You pick up the potion and you face here and you go to the switch. Now, did I forget to, oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, I forgot to mention alternative strats for first priests. So excuse me, but I'm not letting 50 minutes of me talking go into waste. So now we're gonna use, before we go into the second priest, we're gonna see some alternatives for the first priest. The alternative, this is something I recorded myself just because the footage by Secret showing this clip, showing this trick, has a more advanced strat to it, and I don't want you to use it just yet. So this is what we're gonna do. I don't think this is, no, this is right. Okay, so this is the more advanced strat, but it's still consistent if you just get it right. If you practice it enough, it's gonna be fully consistent and faster. The reason it's faster is because the reason this is faster is because we don't speak to the priest. We skip the dialogue completely. The way you can skip dialogues in this game, the way you can cancel dialogues is you run up to a wall, you jump into it by holding, I don't have inputs this time, sorry for that. You hold W or like forward, whatever, and you jump. And mid jump, you start strafing to the side. And just hold this strafe. And now you wanna strafe so that you see the priest as he spawns. The moment he starts turning, you can see it if I go frame by frame, like he's standing still here and then he starts turning right here. The moment he's turning, this is like maybe half a second, like 0.3 seconds maybe. This is something that also happens after you talk to him if you don't skip this cutscene. The moment he's turning, you need to save and load. If you save and load here, just go past him now. He has his melee weapon out. You need to climb this thing, but without the usual climb that you would do. This is mainly for timing purposes. You can technically climb the usual way, but it's way harder to time it right then, because you'll be... this is kind of time-based, and you need to make it up there in a particular time, and it's way harder to do it with the usual climb, because the usual climb takes more time. So we climb it like... this is the failed attempt. Okay, I forgot I said anything. Is this the right one? Wait. Okay, this is the right one. Right here, it's this one. You climb this, and when you're on top, you do the same thing that we did with the previous wall to this pillar. You cancel the animation like this. And then the priest keeps... Okay, my angle is not perfect, but I eventually make him fall down there. And then you just do the same, pretty much. This is all the same from now on. So the only difference is that you skip the cutscene. And, you know, the talk with him. The other way to do it would be to... this is kind of an old strat and it's pretty random, but it was used in Black Secret's World Record. So I might just mention it here, but it's kind of similar. You just don't cancel the cutscene in the same manner twice. You fall into the ground instead. You sink into the ground instead. That makes him follow you, but it was pretty random, and it's slower than doing it the way I just showed you. And also, instead of give me a second. This is this one. Instead of jumping onto the wall like this, you can also kind of launch yourself of this place. But it's way harder, and it's totally not worth it in the beginning because it saves like a second maybe. So you might see it, you might see someone do it. Don't try it in the beginning. You can just learn it eventually, and it saves it's a really minor time save. And the effect is the same, you just cancel the cutscene. All right. Let's get further then. We were at the second priest. Sorry for the inconvenience. Sorry for being chaotic here. I just completely forgot about alternative strats. and especially that one of them was faster and easy to do. So yeah. Forget I said anything. So right now you get to this switch. You want to save and load when you get to it. You want to use it. Then the same deal as with the chests. You want to cancel the animation with just starting battle mode. So the button to the left of your 1 key, whatever that is on your keyboard. Then you turn around. The moment you see you hear. Okay, I'm gonna turn the sound up again. You get to this switch. You save and load. You click the switch. You cancel the animation. You turn around to get ready for the next thing. And what I did here is I save and load the moment the switch clicks. The moment you can hear the switch click. Like this, like the kick. Like the pick sound was the switch clicking. You need to pause after it clicks. Because you can pause and it will still click sometimes. But if you've paused before it clicked, it's not gonna work. So right now, what this switch does is the first and the second time, it's gonna spawn a demon behind you. And the third time it's gonna spawn a priest, but we won't bother killing demons because we don't have any weapons. We just want the priest. And that's why we switch it 3 times and we save after the first and the second one. And the third time, there's gonna be a priest spawning. Okay, this is the first strat. I'm gonna show you 2 of them. I strongly advise you, and by strongly advise, I mean don't do anything else. I strongly advise you to use this one. At least for your early runs. If you really want to use the other 2 ones, then for the second one, okay. For the third one, I would say don't do it if you don't need world record, and you probably don't. The third one is cancer. The second one is but yeah, this is probably the best you're gonna go with, at least in the beginning. So what we do here is, if you're not in battle mode, right here, because like I said, like with the chests, it's random if you're gonna get battle mode or not. If you're not in battle mode, turn it on. Turn it on immediately, and strafe to the left to be about here. Like, be near this wall, but don't be behind it just yet. You want to be still like on this side of this corner, right? Because the priest is gonna spawn there, and he's gonna start talking to you, walking towards you. That's what we want to happen. Like this, right? So you're standing like on this side of this corner, so he can still be talking to you. Now, you just skip all of this dialogue. Don't do it with escape. Do it like a proper speedrunner. Do it with right mouse button and not escape. I usually, if you do it with escape, you pause the game afterwards. I actually like it. I actually want to pause the game here, because that kind of tells my brain that it's time to go. Whatever you might think of it. But the thing is, after this dialogue ends, you want to strafe to the left as fast as possible. You need to be not in this guy's field of view. Because if you are, you're dead. Because he's gonna hit you with your magic, and that's it, you're dead. So just run to the left immediately. And now, what we're doing here in general is that there are some skeletons around here. If all of these skeletons are closer to this guy, to the priest, I'm just gonna proof check that just to make sure. They always attack the nearest target. So the skeleton, if the skeletons are closer to this priest than they are to you, which is the case most of the time, if it's not, then you either have to avoid the skeleton that's gonna be closer to you or try again. Like load the save and hope they're in a different position. I'm sorry. And hope they're in different positions. But generally, they're usually, hopefully, closer to him than they are to you. And if they are closer to him, they're gonna take their aggro on him and not you. I have no clue why that happens. I've asked Saradok why that happens. He doesn't know either. It's just the way it works. It's just the way they take aggro. They attack the nearest target, even if that's the priest for some reason. But what you want to do here is you just want to wait until they kill him. And in the meantime, we're gonna do something we need to do anyway, which is drink some mana potions and bind some spells. So what we do first is remember to drink the potions in the right order. You need to get your mana to be higher. You need to get your bar to be bigger, and then fill it with mana. It's kind of important because you're short on you're short on mana potions. So you have just enough mana potions every time, all the time. So make sure you don't waste one. You get the mana bonus one. You know you got it right if your bar suddenly is like only like one fourth full and not really full. Then you fill your mana completely, while the skeletons are still attacking the priest. Now, if you're going for a fireball strat later on the fourth priest, we'll get to that later, bind fireball to whatever. That's optional, but you absolutely have to bind the transformation into an orc's dog to one of your buttons. By default, it's 4. So if I want to go safe, I just bind fireball to 5 and then the orc's dog to 4. So right now you can see him, like we're gonna see him die because he's gonna fall down, but you can also pretty much hear him die. Like this, like whenever you can hear him scream like this, it means he's dying. So then it's important that you immediately save and load, because the moment he dies, the skeletons take aggro on the next thing that's close to them, which is you. So you don't want this state you don't want to be in this state for too long. So just save and load immediately. Then go loot priest. Remember to not be in battle mode, because if you're in battle mode, you cannot interact with stuff. Alright, now just save and load here. If you couldn't aim properly at the priest earlier and you lost some time due to that, it's better if you save and load somewhere in between, like then and coming to here, just to make sure you don't die. Just like kind of feel it. If you lost some time already and there are still enemies around you, it's better to save and load and not die. Now just use this place with the sword you get from the priest. Yeah, make sure to save and load along the way. Battle mode is not really a necessity here, because you cannot jump in this place. This is probably the best moment to take out your mana, take out your spell, which is the transformation into an orc dog. The thing about the thing with this is, throughout this like part where we run, you need to save and load. You absolutely need to save and load. Okay, maybe I don't want to say stuff that's like I don't want to say that stuff is necessity when it's not, but I would strongly advise you to save and load here. And I always load in the same spot. You might just, I did it again. I forgot to mention the alternative strats for this priest. Sorry. I can promise it won't happen again, but okay, so this is the basic strat for this priest. There is also one that's used by Comatose in his No Major Glitches run, and that is to still not skip this cutscene, but when you turn around, you just go one straight to the left, two steps backwards, and then one step to the right. That makes it so that you're behind the switch whenever you talk to the priest, and he cannot attack you because you're technically like behind a wall or some shit. Right now, if he moves, you need to readjust. You need to make sure you're exactly opposite him. And now you just drink your potions and hope that they don't move him too far away. And this is slightly faster, and it's still like within doable, I guess. Within reason, right? And you just loot him faster, I guess, because you need to run up to him. You can loot him just when he dies. The thing that's absolute cancer, and you should never try to do it. That's probably gonna make you try to do it. Is the world record strat. I won't really bother explaining it too much because this is a beginner's tutorial. I'm not supposed to do it. The thing with this strat is you skip the dialogue with the priest. So instead of talking to him, you jump up this wall, you start running, you drink your potions here, and supposedly when this works, not only you skip the cutscene, but I think they also attack him like more vigorously, like they're more aggressive towards him for some reason. Yeah, like you can probably already see that he died a lot faster. The problem with this strat is that it looks really nicely on video when it works, but even if you do everything right, it only works like, I don't know, 30% of the time. So don't do it, especially in the beginning. If you're not going for a world record, it's probably not a good idea to do it ever. All right. So this is it for the second priest. Let's go to the third priest now. Like I was saying, you need to save and load here. This is the best moment to bring out your spell, your transformation. I usually save before climbing here, save and load before climbing here. My spell just switched to Fireball because it's higher in my equipment. It's the spell I have equipped as 5, and it's higher on the list. This is gonna happen every time you save and load. If you have just the transformation like set up, like key binded, I guess that's the way you say it, then it's not gonna happen because the transformation is your only spell. But if you have 2 spells, this is gonna happen. It doesn't matter at all, just because the only thing that matters is having a spell in your hand. As long as you have the spell in your hand, you're fine, because switching spells doesn't require any animation. You can switch spells whenever, and it will just change the color in your hand, and that's it. So you just need to have a spell out at this point. It's better to do it here to get the spell out, because you cannot jump here, you cannot do anything. So you're not interrupting anything, you just take the spell out without any drawbacks to it. You don't slow down or anything. So this is the first save. The second time I save is right near this corner. The save and load is what I meant. And there's a mage here that may hit you with Ice Bolt. And this is the third time I save and load. This is something I always do, like the 3 saves. You might just copy that, it should work for you. If it doesn't, you can just like adjust it. What I heard from Saradok is that his way of approaching this, if he gets hit by the mage with Ice Bolt, he has to save and load. If he doesn't, then he's safe. But you know, you do whatever you feel like. I'm just like giving you ideas that the thing I'm showing you works. If you find anything else that works for you, great, fantastic. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm going into this corner, and then I want to strafe at least like I just want to at least make a step into this wall. A step should be okay most of the time. You might want to take 2 steps if you want to be safe. Yeah, I took 2 here. So right now you just face this wall, you start transforming, which is just the way you loot stuff or attack stuff. So just like hold left mouse button and hold W. Now after you've transformed, you're gonna be on the other side of this rock as a dog. The thing to remember about transformations all the time is that the human body you just left didn't disappear. It's still there. It's still there until you transform back. Moreover, it can get killed, which is annoying as hell, but it is. It's a thing. In this run, it's only important here because the skeletons out there might kill you. So yeah, I think if you're not far into the wall, or to be honest, I just stopped having this issue at some point and I never gave it another thought, but I assume it may have something to do with not running into the wall enough, so you're not like hidden. But you might just transform back from the dog and you might be dead. If that happened, then it means you get killed, your body got killed when you were the dog. Okay, the thing about the dog is you just, I just get hit by Oswald, nice. Okay, there is a pillar here. You have to trust me because it's so dark. But there is a pillar here and it looks the same as this one. You want to start walking to the side from this moment, from the moment this pillar ends, pretty much. And you might get, there is a cutscene here. We walk to the side purely to skip this cutscene, and the cutscene normally just takes a round around the room. And this is skipping the cutscene like a couple of seconds after it starts. Sometimes you might just get an instant cutscene skip. I think it might be dependent on mouse movement. Like if you move your mouse more, you're more likely to get it, but I'm not entirely sure. But you should be good with just skipping the cutscene like this. It's just like, it's still better than watching the cutscene in its entirety. If you drop your if you start strafing and like right now you just, I don't know, you drop your inputs and you stop strafing, you're most likely gonna see the entire cutscene. It's not like all of it is not really huge time loss. The entire cutscene takes like 15-20 seconds at best. So it's not the worst, but you know, it's just annoying to see it all. Right. So what you do here is the priest ignores you because you're not a human. Now you jump on top of this table. You turn. You probably heard it. God damn it. All right. You turn to the left, and when you're at this point, about like from your angle is like from this corner facing this way, like this. Then you just press enter to transform back, because this will put you right here. This angle is very important. You might get a hold of it quickly, so that you just do it like this, like without thinking about it too much. You just know when to press enter or return. Return is the word. You press return. But you know, in the beginning it might just be good to do it more slowly and like carefully to make sure you know the right angle. This is all to make sure the priest jumps on top of this table, because this spell is supposed to be a lure. It's a bait. So this is a trap that we're not gonna fall into. This trap. It's gonna kill the priest that way. What's funny is that you don't get experience for any of the priests just because they all like had accidents by all means, by the game's means. You didn't kill them. I pick up the spell when he's dying because this is the thing that's kind of in your way. But if it's not there, then you can just loot him immediately after he dies. And it's pretty good. And you cannot do anything else the moment he dies, so that's good. As for this is the mana potion, an additional mana potion. We're gonna need it. We're gonna need one more potion, so make sure to pick it up. Right now, just drink the potion. You might want to save here just to be sure. This was a PB attempt, so I didn't bother. But strafe into the wall and make sure you face the corner. And strafe to the wall at least twice. Like, make at least 2 steps. One is pretty risky. I would strongly advise you to step twice into the wall, because this seems to work a lot better if you do it. I've done it with just 1 step and I would fail this at times, so this is totally not worth it. Just step twice or more to make sure you're like in the wall. And then face this way, face the corner, make the transformation, and boom, you're in this tunnel. Now just walk towards here. If I'm stupid enough to do what I did, then don't copy me. Please get on this place. Even if it's super early, get on this part. Don't do what I did here. Don't jump like this. If you jump like this, there is a pretty high chance you're gonna end up in this lava. Especially in the beginning. Don't do it. This is something I've been doing a lot, and I would end up in the lava a lot of the times. Just get on this place earlier, please. Yeah, so this is it. This is it for the third priest. There are no alternative strats for the third priest, because the one that's here, it's already easy and consistent. So yeah, this is the one that doesn't really have any different strats. Remember to transform back here, about here, because if you transform back closer to if you get close to this orc, this guardian, as a dog, he's gonna take aggro on you. If an enemy has an aggro on you and you're transformed into a monster and you transform back, the game crashes. So just don't do it. Just transform back early enough to not trigger him. Because this is a very stupid way to crush your game. Yeah, this here is just chaining jumps. Now, here is where some strats come into play. We're gonna fight the fourth priest here, and this is my way of doing a pretty safe strat, although I make it I kind of make it more risky by my own stupidity, but this is my setup. This is my fireball setup. I'll talk about how you can switch it a bit to make it a bit different, but still like kind of the same. To still have the core be the same, but this is one way of approaching this priest. So the way I did it was I line up his foot with this line. I take another I take a potion. I drink a potion here to have enough mana to throw a fireball. He doesn't. I'm too far away from him to start a cutscene, but if I throw a fireball at him, he's gonna start talking to me. And the moment I throw the fireball, I just start walking forward, because that makes it so that the dialogue starts and I lose control. The dialogue starts making me lose control right before I enter this part, but the spikes get triggered because they get triggered a bit earlier than you actually being on top of them. The proper way to get into his chamber is there is a hole to the right here. And the best thing about all of this is that I had no idea this is the proper way to enter this chamber. I've always thought this is a stupid trap that you need to activate it and just run past it when it closes or something. So he's getting close to us. Right now, just skip all of his dialogue. And what I do here is I take a step forward, risking my life. So don't do it. If you do it this way, take a step backwards. Because any movement on your side is gonna trigger the spikes now. So you can just step backwards and it will still work. I just had a very stupid habit. I still do it. I have a stupid habit of working forwards here, which may kill you. Just don't do it. Okay, anyway, he's fallen into this trap, so now just loot him, and that's it. Just get his sword and get out of there. What you can do to make this strat a bit different is you can already already go and stand on the spikes, on the edge of the spikes, and then take the potion and throw the fireball. It's like perfectly the same, and then walk backwards. Come on. And then that's pretty much it, I think. This is the strat with not skipping his line. The second strat is something I recorded, like... Is it, or is it... Wait, I'm pretty sure I recorded it. Has to be... Yeah, it's here. Alright. I just recorded it right before I started this material. This is the strat that I actually like very much for the fourth priest. It was found by Comatose. It's consistent. It works like a charm. It's faster than what I've just shown you. And I think it's fine even as a beginner. You might want to either learn this from the beginning or switch to it not a lot later, like once you've kind of got a hold of the game. So what you want to do is you want to be in battle mode. That's pretty important. Be in battle mode. Trigger the spikes by being just close to them, and then tap W to get like a bit into them, but not a lot. Because if you take one step too much, you're gonna die. So just don't die, forehead. And then just go to this wall, cancel the we already did once on the first priest. Cancel his dialogue with just jumping into the wall and then strafing to the side. Get like here on top of this platform and then start running back, because that triggers him. Jump over these spikes. They're kind of laggy, so even if you land on like the tip of them, they're not gonna kill you, so don't worry. Run behind this wall. Make sure he doesn't have you in your sight. Make sure he's not seeing you. All right. Make sure he's not seeing you. Save and load, and then you can hear my keyboard. Then. And then take a good look at him. The moment he stops running down these like stairs, the moment he's on like flat ground, start strafing to the right, to the left. Then once you reach the end, make sure to not fall down. Once you reach the end, just start strafing, just start running back, jump to here, activate the spikes. Make sure you don't go too far to not kill yourself again. Then cancel battle mode to be able to loot him. And just loot him and go away. You might fail this a couple times if you don't know how spikes work just yet. So don't worry if you don't get it as consistently in practice. Just practice, and you're gonna get it soon, right? This is not the fastest way. This is a lot faster, obviously, because you don't have to wait for the priest to walk up to you, which is a huge time save. But this is still not the fastest. The fastest way is the one the world record does. And it's supposed to be pretty easy, but I've personally had a lot of problems with it. I couldn't ever pull it off, so yeah, I just can't recommend it myself, but that doesn't mean it's a bad strat. So what you want to do here is you need to cancel his dialogue the same way again, but after you turn around right here, you do one running jump, so you just run and jump. It's important that you start running and then jump, because if you just jump, you're gonna jump forward, but it's gonna be a very awkward small jump, and you don't want that. You want like a proper big running jump. Afterwards, you need to sink into the ground. What I'm hearing from other runners is if you start holding M, when you're about to hit the ground, you're pretty much guaranteed to get it, right? So you probably want to start holding M right now, or earlier, or a bit earlier even. Yeah, I should mention it. This is not something you should do in the beginning. It's not very much a beginner-friendly strat. It's kind of random, a bit at least. So this is just for your information. I wouldn't advise you to do it. I would advise you to do it either the first one, because it's like totally easy and doable. The second one might take some practice, but should be still doable after some practice. It's still okay, at least to me. It's still okay to do it as a beginner. Come on, dude. It's still okay to do it as a beginner. The third one, don't do it if you don't know what you're doing, right? So you just sink into the ground, and there are two ways to do it. The safer way is to wait until you see the priest on the spikes and save and load, which is what Secret is doing here, and then kill him by just moving on the spikes. You could also just stand in front of the trigger, like in front of the spikes, and the moment he gets on the spikes, you just activate them. But this is, like I said, this way, this is just for your information. Please don't do it. At least not in the beginning. This is more like, yeah, this is more like just to make sure you know what the strats are, right? Alright, so if you're past this guy, then we can proceed forward and, you know, make sure you didn't fall into the lava here or whatever. The next part is we have some spikes in front of us, and jumping over spikes may seem like it's precise, but it's not that bad. You just need to, like, the first jump is from here. Make sure you save right before you do it. That's like pretty obvious. But the first jump is from here to here, right? The second jump is pretty much the same, and then the third one is from here to like here. So you keep this line twice. You just want to just like do jump like this, like from around the pillar to around the pillar, and then you just jump over here, right? You still kind of keep this line. You still kind of like do the first jump in the line, the second jump in the line, and the third one is also kind of just a bit out of this line to the right. Here you don't have to worry about this human. He's pretty far away, so he shouldn't be a danger if you just keep running. There is a guy. There is a reason I make a safety save here. Because I was 15 seconds ahead. So make sure you save here, like all the time, like every time, because there is a guy around this corner, and his reaction time can be kind of random. And the thing about these fanatical guardians, their swords are really long. Like sometimes you wouldn't believe that he could get you from that far ahead, from that far behind, or that far ahead. But the problem is he could, because he's just like, he has some insane range of attack for some reason. But so it's better to, you know, save and load if you need it than not believe how he could get you, but he still did. So right now, instead of you know, going through these gates, we can just jump over them. So again, this is just like simple jump chaining. Here you just jump chain again. Yeah, like make this thing where you fall down and jump forward at the same time, which is just like holding W, holding Alt, and then tapping M when you start falling. Yeah, just jump past this guy. All right. This priest has only one way of killing him and a backup to it if it doesn't work. But so the way you do it is make sure you save here. That's the thing. From about this point, you want to jump kind of around this, whatever this is, to be honest. You kind of want to land about here, but a bit more to the right, like this, right? The key here is that you enter his radius of him being able to spot you and talk to you and whatnot. But you're on a slope, so he has to get to you, and he still has to be on this slope. It's pretty good if you have battle mode on before jumping to here. Now, don't skip dialogue with escape. This is just like another reminder to not do it. I don't remember if that's the cause, but you can sometimes, that's pretty rare, but you can see how he slides a bit. He can slide back to up where he was, but that's pretty rare. You shouldn't really be bothered about that. If that ever happens, or even more rare, but it happened to me when I was recording stuff for this video, you can also fall down for some reason. You can sometimes. I've only had it I've only seen it twice. I've only had it twice in my life. Once today, where you just do not land on this slope. You just touch this slope and then fall down. If either of these things happen, if you fall down, it's really rare, but you're pretty much screwed, because you can't, when you're falling, you can't pause. So you would have to wait like a really long time to die to be able to pause. So let's just not focus about that. Let's just hope you don't ever get it, because it's a very stupid way to lose a round. Anyway, what you want to do here is you want to skip this cutscene with him. Obviously, you might want to save again, but only if you save very early, just to like still have some room for movement here. Right now, you want to take one jump this way. If you jump so that he, if you you really just want to make a jump that's like this, right? That gets you on top of here. You try to get it in practice as much as possible, because you can also just get this jump where he just jumps forward, but just a bit. It's not a running jump. If you've played a bit, you probably know what I mean. He's just gonna jump like this, like this distance and stop. You wanna make him jump so that he jumps while running, so that he slides up this wall. This is what you want to do. This is your goal here. If you don't get it in the first try, you might want to get it in the second try, so don't worry the moment you don't get it. You can still probably make it up here. The really important part is to get up here before he falls down. Sometimes he can get stuck in this place and just turn around constantly. There's nothing you can do. He sometimes just gets stuck here for some reason. Sometimes he'll be in such a position that you won't be able to get here before he falls down. That's also, there's nothing you can do. Just like accept it and go for backup. But in the, like, most of the time, you're gonna be just fine. So that you're on top here, he's here. Now the only thing you need to do is you need to not be in battle mode. That's very important. You need to have his name on top of him, so that you're kind of like he's kind of like marked. Then you you know how you loot stuff in this game, or you use stuff in this game, or you attack stuff in this game by holding left mouse button and then tapping either W or whatever is your forward key. Right now, you need to just focus on him with your left mouse button. Just hold it and nothing else for quite some time. Now you just hold it, and then you can walk back here to not have to do it later because you have some waiting time anyway, but that's not necessary. Now, what you're gonna be doing is the moment you lose sight of him, start mashing W, and you could also be mashing up at the same time, because you'll just mash twice as fast. All the while holding left mouse button. What we're trying to accomplish here is you're focused onto him. He's gonna die by falling into the seemingly endless pit there. The moment he dies, you can still loot him even though you're so far away from him. But to do so, you need to be mashing W, and to get your chances higher, you can also be mashing up at the same time. But remember to hold left mouse button. If you did it properly, it might not work all the time. Like, it might work 90% of the time. If you don't get it, as with everything when running this game for the first time, if you don't get it, don't worry. Just try again and keep trying. Just start mashing. If you did it right, the moment he dies, you're gonna see his equipment, which is this. So you just loot him, and that's it. If for some reason you just lost focus on it, if you let go of left mouse button accidentally, or it just didn't work, you were mashing but either not mashing hard enough, or it just didn't work for some reason, there is a backup. There is a very good backup, and I'm gonna show it to you now. Oh, this is what happened to me when I was trying to this is what happened today when I was trying to actually record the backup. So yeah, make sure you don't ever get it. So yeah, assume I just let go of my left mouse button, and he just died there. What you can do is you can it takes some time. It loses about 30 seconds or something, or thereabouts, maybe less. But there is a backup so that at least your run isn't technically dead. You go back to this to the other end of this bridge, and then you approach the priest again, and he's on his usual place, but he's dead. So you just loot him, and that's pretty much it. Now, what is important is we're gonna take a very particular path here. We're gonna be behind this. Wait. I was looking at the wrong one. This is a rock. Yeah, it's more certainly a rock. We're gonna be going behind this rock to make sure the guard that's a human, so that makes him a bit problematic. A human guard is not gonna see us. So that the moment he sees us is now and not earlier, because if he saw us earlier, he would be here. And we don't want that to happen. Right now, we want to chain jumps. My reference point is about like when this part of this circle touches this part of this, whatever. Just like start jumping towards here until you're like around the middle of this chamber, I assume, and then turn right. This is all just because you technically have all the five fine swords to stop these places and open this gate. But there are humans around you, so they would kill you. So there is no way you would do it without being killed. So we just jump over this gate because it's a lot easier to do so. Alright, now what you want to do is start battle mode just because we'll be jumping a bit, and then jump into this cutscene. There is a cutscene trigger here. You really don't want to walk into it, because that will just start the cutscene. This cutscene is pretty long, takes like 10 seconds. And the way I do it usually is I the moment I'm past this like crack on the floor, I just jump, and that's it. And that's it. That like Stardust still has some magic in his hands, but the cutscene is skipped. Now, what we want to do is we want to jump and then jump when falling down all the time, like this, because it's just a lot faster than anything else you can do here. Save before this guy. If you do it, if you're a beginner, please save before this guy. He has killed me multiple times. Just do it. Just save. This is like the very end of the run. You don't want to die here without saving. And you know, his sword can get you mid-air. If you're mid-air, you can run away. So you know, I enter battle mode about here again, about there right now. And now there's another cutscene coming up, but from what I heard, I've always thought you need to jump into it also, like the same way you jump into the Stardust cutscene. But it turns out the only way to not skip it is to jump and land on the trigger. I think even if you walk into it, you should still skip it. The way I do it all the time is I just there are 2 stones on the ground here, and I just jump from in between them forward, and that's it. It always skips this cutscene, so it's fine. Right now we're coming up to the very end of this run. Save here. Save here in like on this platform, wherever, just before you reach the end of it. Here comes a pretty hard trick, but I think you might just, with some practice you can get it. Our goal here is that we don't want any NPCs to attack us now, because we need to stab the 5 hearts to kill the sleeper, a quote-unquote kill. But so what we're gonna do here now is we're gonna jump from this ledge, and then ideally you would want to tap escape the moment Korkalom starts talking to you, but it's a very small window, and I don't think there is any sensible reference point for it. So there's, especially in the beginning, there is no reason to just wing it, like that, and just try it without any preparation. So screw that. We're gonna do it the safe way, or at least the safest way possible, which is jump and then pause the game. Okay, of course I get it the first time. All right. Okay, this is not what I wanted. I forgot that I got it the first time in my PV. But the thing is, what you want to do, I might just... Okay, I wasn't ready for it. I thought I did it a couple times in my PV. God damn it. Okay, anyway, what you want to do is you want to jump like this. Okay, let me just get this frame of reference. You want to jump like this, and about this point, you want to start pause buffering. So just pause your game, then unpause it let the game play, ideally for like a frame, but for the smallest time possible, and then pause again, like unpause pause until you get this angle of the camera. If the angle changes like that, you got it. If you didn't, then Korkalom is gonna start talking to you. Skip the talk with him, wait for the guard to kill you. Wait for the moment you can pause the game, do it, load the save, try again. If you failed it. If you didn't, if you got this screen, make sure to not unpause. If you unpause, you're fucked. If you did everything right, you should just keep the game paused here, and you should load that save. Because right now, the mad Korkalom is talking to you with your menu open. If you load the game right now, and he tries to talk to you again, like this is the moment you turn a bit, for a second, is the moment Korkalom is trying to talk to you again. From this moment on, all NPCs won't be able, like, no NPC will be able to interact with you. At all. Completely. Even when it comes to attacking you. They can follow you, but they can do nothing, because the game is in the state where it's all of the game is like thinking that you're talking with Matt Korkalom, even though you're not. So right now you just go to the heart, and the important part is that you need to interact with it. So don't be in battle mode when you interact with it. As you can see, the Guardian is following us with his weapon out, but he cannot attack you. So you just open every heart. You just get from one of them to the other. There's probably a couple ways to do it. I usually just use 2 jumps, I think. This is my usual way to do it. And then the moment you stop the 5th heart and the screen turns black, it's time. So yeah, that's it. As you can see, my final time is 11:57. The real time was 11:56 loadless. So like, okay, not real time. What I meant is that after subtracting the additional load, it was an 11:56 loadless. Real time, it was 12:20 something. Or something like that. The thing about the thing that I wanted to mention is that this run is done with all the safe strats and not even the consistent strats, because it still utilizes the old first priest without skipping the cutscene, the 4th priest without skipping the cutscene, and yeah, that's about it. So even if you do it with these strats, this is proof that you can get sub 12, and the world record is barely sub 11. So you can be a minute behind world record with all the strats I've just shown you, and you can be even closer to the world record if you do everything right and you use the alternative strats that I've shown as well. So to be honest, I didn't expect, this is like the 3rd take of me doing this. I didn't really expect it to be so straightforward. I thought I was gonna record it in segments or something like that. My throat is absolutely dying right now, but yeah, I just hope it helped someone. I knew I needed to do it since I've seen people lose a lot of time, myself included, lose a lot of time that could be used that could be like put towards running this game seriously, into making stupid mistakes that they didn't know, like doing stupid shit they didn't know existed. That sentence was horrible, but you get what I mean. I would like people to know most of this stuff from the beginning, so that's why I made this tutorial. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped someone. Thanks a lot to the entire Gothic community. I've asked a couple runners to proof check my notes for this one. I've asked Saradok, Comatose, and Secret, so shout out to them. All the links you need will be in the description. Gothic, with Gothic Discord included. So if you have any questions about this category or any other speedrun category of this game, then head on to the Gothic Discord. You can also drop me a DM if you really want. So that will be it, and thanks a lot for watching. I guess this is probably my first speedrun tutorial for an entire game. So yeah, thanks a lot, and well, good luck on your runs.